Hi guys, I'm Dr. Nishit Bhatnagar. I'm an orthopedic and joint replacement surgeon. Me along with Dr. Sahil Batra will be guiding you through the short and quick subject of orthopedics and help you score very highly in this. I will give a little introduction about myself. I have done MBBS from UCMS, in which I picked up a gold medal along the way. Subsequently, I got admission into orthopedics at Maulana Azad Medical College. After finishing my PG, I also cleared the DNB examination and went on to give the MRCS England examination, which I cleared again in my first attempts. After wrapping up my senior residency, I went to Mumbai to Breach Candy and Leelavati Hospital for a fellowship in computer-navigated surgeries, and then subsequently I finished my training in Germany in computer-assisted surgeries as well as arthroscopy. So I'm here to help you with orthopedics. Orthopedics is a very short and cute subject. I would say it's almost like a sidekick of surgery. It's a fairly straightforward subject. In most of the entrance examinations, you get straightforward and simple questions. There are not a lot of conceptual questions which you need to apply your mind to. So in that way, it is quite high scoring. My recommendation would be that you wrap up the subject fairly early in your preparation and then move on to the bigger subjects, because otherwise you can get so involved in the bigger subjects that you can go on and on and on endlessly, and these smaller subjects get ignored at your own peril because these are very, very high scoring. My academic journey personally has been a journey of many ups and downs. I have gone from almost flunking in my pre-boards to scoring very highly in my boards in the 12th. I have gone from securing a gold medal in physiology in MBBS to performing very, very poorly in pathology. And then, of course, my high point in my academic journey was securing Delhi State rank 1 in my second attempt. That was after getting a rank of somewhere around 500 in my first attempt, and securing an All India rank of 6 in my second attempt, when in my first attempt, I don't even know what my rank was. It was like 50,000-60,000. So I have not been a chronic topper, and yet I topped when it mattered the most for me. So I will be sharing a few tips with you that helped me make the leap from Delhi rank 400 or 500 to Delhi rank 1. And maybe it will help you. It may or may not work for a few, it may work for some others. But the basic philosophy of mine is to how to prepare yourself to punch above your weight. And because that is what matters eventually, it's a rat race after all. Right, so I'll give you a few pointers that helped me get a good rank in my exam. The first point is flipping a mental switch. It all starts in the mind when you decide firmly that today is the day from where my life changes and my focus is just on the entrance examination. You may be starting behind others, you may be lagging behind, you may have a less conducive environment. But once you flip that mental switch, that from the 1st of February or from the 1st of March, my only single-minded bloody focus will be on getting through the entrance examination. Nothing else can stop you. You will not need any outside motivation. All the motivation will come from within. You may be going through a personal crisis. You may have tens of things running around you happening at the same time, but you have to compartmentalize in your mind. Compartmentalization means that when you're studying, you have insulated yourself and eliminated all other distractions for those 3 or 4 hours when you're studying. Don't look at the phone, don't look at anything else. And when you're taking a break, you take a break completely from the studies. You do not think about what you achieved or did not achieve or whether you have met your target. In those half an hour or 1 hour when you're taking a break, you let yourself go completely and enjoy. Do not procrastinate. That's a big time waster. And always look forward. I have done this much and now how much do I need to do further? So that switch has to be flipped in your mind. And whenever it may happen 2 months before the exam, it doesn't matter, but it has to happen. In my personal case, I went through my internship without much of preparation, but my switch flipped when I finished internship, and from the 1st of January, I decided that this is the year I'm going to make it all about studies. And then the next year, I had no other distractions, just studying, and went on to get a good result. The second point, and a very, very important point, would be planning. So everyone works hard. Everyone is working their socks off. They're studying 12 to 16 hours a day. But what is the difference between a truly great rank and a good or a okay or an average rank is the plan. See, failing to plan is planning to fail, as they say. So you need to have a good concrete plan, both for the time as well as the schedule of when you're going to do what subjects. So time planning is obviously critical. You need to be not too harsh on yourself. Do not set unrealistic targets that you know that you're not going to meet, because that is just going to pull your confidence down. You can keep improvising and changing your time plan a little bit. If you've allocated 1 week for a particular subject and you realize 3 days into that subject that it's going to take longer, improvise and roll with it and change your plan accordingly. The second thing is a schedule planning. So you need to have a long-term plan as well as a short-term plan. Plan ahead for the next 6 months, how you're going to go through the first reading, first revision, second revision, and so on and so forth. So you need to have a long-term vision for that. But you also need to have a micro plan. Micro plan is a short-term plan. So it's going to be basically about that particular day or the next particular week and what all topics or subjects you're going to get through. I would suggest you alternate between a heavy topic and a light topic, because just a heavy topic is a heavy subject is very, very draining. Something like a pathology or medicine, it's like a never-ending loop. You can just go on and on and on. So you need to alternate between the two, because ticking off the lighter topics is also going to be a very good confidence booster. I used to have a huge whiteboard in front of me when studying with all the subjects listed down, and I used to keep ticking them off as I went. And I also used to have a date-wise schedule on it, and I would actually reward myself when I would meet my targets, take an extra half an hour, 1 hour off, go and have a good meal or whatever you like to do. Okay, so that's also very important for your mental health. Always think about the long term while working in and planning in the short term. So when you have to make a choice between whether I should go for a long-term gain or a short-term gain, obviously you should go for a long-term gain. For example, the institute I had joined for my coaching was on a different track. They were going through the heavy subjects first, and then they would go on to the short subjects, which I was not very comfortable with, but I stuck to my guns. And even when they were, let's say, teaching us medicine, I would be studying orthopedics or anesthesia or something like that. And it always did not match. Sometimes it did, sometimes it did not. But it made me more at peace with my mind that I'm doing what I want to do. So you can have your own schedule. It doesn't need to be dictated by any institute or something. But then you stick to it and you stick to the timelines. Okay? The third point is that you need to choose your material very wisely. There are so many sources, so many books, so many apps across the board, across platforms that you can go through. And there are tons of people who will tell you, I did this, I did that, I did that. You have limited time and you cannot read everything. You cannot go through all the apps. You cannot go through all the books. And you cannot retain them also if you go through them. What is more important is that you choose what you need to read very wisely. Choose your material. These are the books. These are the apps that I will go through. I will go through them 3 or 4 times. They need to be comprehensive, but they do not need to be exhaustive. So the difference is exhaustive is that when you just go into a lot of grand detail, but comprehensive is which covers all the boxes. It might not go into the absolute detail of everything. So choose your material very wisely and then stick to it. Don't get influenced by all the voices in your head and all around you that I have done from this book, I have done from that book. You have chosen yours and then you stick to it. Okay? Because it's very easy to get into that maze of this book and that book and those heavy foreign author books. You choose your books and then you stick to it. But then you do them well. The fourth point I would say, which is probably one of the most critical things and which is undervalued, is having a good study buddy. Have a friend who is like-minded, whom you enjoy talking to. Talk to him or her on a daily basis and discuss your studies. What have you, take 15 minutes out of your schedule and just discuss with them what you have done, what you have not done. It acts like a break. It's a very, very, very good mental break. And it keeps your spirits up, talking to a friend on an everyday basis, knowing that they are also struggling. They are also in the same boat as you are. You're not the only one who's struggling and going through this phase. What it also does is that you can look forward to discussing a few topics with them in the evening. I personally had 2 or 3 study buddies, and with one of them, we had this arrangement that if I'm studying, let's say, orthopedics, I'm reading up the explanations of the answer, I will pick up the finer points, like I would pick up 3 fine points, and I would ask him on the phone in the evening, do you know this? Do you know this? Do you know this? What it helps is that most of the basic question everyone is able to retain. But the finer points given in the explanation sometimes are not retained in our memory. So just talking to them in a conversational manner about it kind of reinforce and help me revise on the same day those finer points. And similarly, he would also give me the finer points of some subject that he was reading. So it worked both ways and it benefited both of us. It was very good for mental health. And somehow I feel that when you're discussing things in a conversational manner, they tend to stick in your memory a little better than just going and reading it in a book. So the basic question you might retain, but the finer points of the explanation, which may form a question in a future exam, you may not retain. So discuss with a good study buddy. Okay. The last point and final point that I would like to give you is that you have to train for the unknown. In my personal experience in the 2012 All India exam, the Delhi state exam had merged with the All India exam, the one that I was giving. So suddenly people who were focused on getting all the repeats right, because that is what mattered in the Delhi exam, had to retrain and, had to shift their focus on how to get the All India exams correct and their sort of questions and their type of patterns correct. What helped me personally was that right from the beginning, what I did was that if I'm doing, let us say, the subject of PSM today, I would also take up 5 questions of obs and gynae and solve them. I have not done obs and gynae in my life ever or in my preparation for PG ever, but I would still go and solve those 5 questions because I wanted to train my mind on how to approach a question about which I know nothing. It's a brand new question which has come in the exam. None of the students know about it. How do I put myself in the best possible place to get the correct answer? So by doing these questions from subjects that you have not already covered, you are kind of stimulating your brain and training your brain on how to eliminate choices without actually knowing anything about that particular question and arriving at the answer. Then I would look at the answer and then I would retrospectively see how I could have arrived at the correct answer without actually knowing anything about that question. So it's like trying to get into the mind of the examiner and seeing what they want to ask. This is very, very, very good practice for new questions, and because even if you're able to eliminate 2 choices, you increase your chances of getting it right by a significant margin. So this, I feel, is the point which makes a very significant difference between getting a great rank and getting an average rank. Okay. Otherwise, you know all the usual points. You have to attempt as many questions as possible. Keep your time management. Keep your head clear. Go in with a relaxed mind. Don't go in with a confused, anxious state of mind. You must remember that this exam, this PG entrance exam, is not the be-all and end-all of life. Success in life does not depend on the rank that you get. Success in life depends on what you do after getting the rank. Thank you. All the best.